Here we continue with chapter number 24. Let's begin. The sharp pain shooting through my back is what made me open my eyes. But nothing in the world could have prepared me for the sight that greeted me. As I opened my eyes, I was welcomed by the angelic face of my wife, which was enough to make me forget all my pain. She was lying close to me, holding my bicep as tightly as if letting go would make me disappear. What she doesn't know is that I'll never leave her. Even after I become a corpse, my soul will remain entangled with hers. Ignoring the pain in my back, I slowly tried to lie on my left side so that I could properly admire the sleeping beauty beside me. She stirred as I moved slightly, and an irritated pout formed on her red lips. How badly I wanted to taste them. I found a comfortable position and waited a few seconds to ensure my darling wouldn't wake up from her sleep. This was the first time she was this close to me, and I didn't want to ruin our moment. My darling is the true definition of beauty. Her face is round with slightly chubby cheeks that I desperately wanted to bite. But I restrained myself, knowing she might wake up and kick me in the balls. I know she would. Her eyes are the perfect pair of brown with a golden tint. Even her skin has a golden brown hue that makes her stand out in a crowd. Her eyebrows form a perfect arc. Though her lashes are short and cute, her face has a few acne marks here and there, slightly pinkish, which act as a natural blush. Her lips are full and plump, a deep red color reminding me of cherries I long to taste. I slowly moved my left arm from beneath my head and gently brushed away the strands of brown hair that had fallen onto her face. She stirred a bit as I traced her features with my fingers. Her skin felt soft and warm against my rough, cold hand. She is truly an angel, though it was uncomfortable for me to lie like this. I wasn't about to complain as long as I could admire her beauty. Suddenly, I remembered what had happened, and my fist clenched as I thought of ways to kill those Volkovs. I had been avoiding their attacks at Valdemir's request, but after their latest move, they no longer deserve my kindness or mercy. I don't mind when they try to attack me, but if my being hurt brings tears to my darling eyes, I must be careful not to get killed. Now, my life no longer belongs to just me. I must take care of it for her sake. Last night, when I saw her sobbing while holding me tightly, I had the urge to kill myself for making her cry. She's too pure for my corrupted world. I don't know what will happen when she learns the truth about my identity as a mafia boss. I would love to hide it from her, but I don't want to keep secrets from her. I've already kept one secret about her nasty parents. I don't know how a pure soul like my darling ended up with such greedy parents. First, they took money from that peasant groom in exchange for her hand in marriage. And when I visited them, they had the audacity to say that they would let me keep her if I gave them money. Her bastard of a father spoke of her as if she were some property he was selling to me, which earned him a good punch from me. I'm not a good man, and I don't consider age or gender if someone insults my precious darling. My darling loves her family more than herself, and they were selling her to some random man behind her back. I had my suspicions about them, which is why I asked Mr. Rajput to keep them under surveillance. Her family has some secrets, and I will uncover them before they can hurt her. I slowly ran my hands through her hair and moved closer to her so I could place a kiss on her forehead. I never thought I could love someone to the extent that I would die for them. Suddenly, I remembered Jason, and an unknown feeling crept into my heart as my grip on her shoulder tightened. She started to move, and when I looked down, she was already gazing up at me. I slowly withdrew my hand from her shoulder so as not to make her uncomfortable. But she continued to look at me without blinking. Why are you looking at me like that, darling? I asked when she didn't stop staring. She didn't reply but simply smiled, and I felt as if my heart, which had been racing under her gaze, suddenly slammed on the brakes. The corners of her plump lips curled upwards as she blessed me with her angelic smile, the smile my heart had been yearning for. I felt a sudden wave of peace wash over me. I didn't know how to react. Just when I thought she couldn't surprise me anymore, she slowly disentangled herself from my bicep, sat up in bed, and gently touched my face with her hands. I was sure she could see the surprise written all over my face as she slowly shook her head, smiling and moved the strand of my hairs away from my face. I felt my heart, which had stopped a moment ago, started racing again, as if a gang of assassins were chasing it. I could hear the sound of my heartbeat. Why the fuck am I acting like a hormonal teenager? As if sensing the effect she had on me, she cupped my cheek and leaned down towards me. Her brown hair brushed against my face. She tilted her head to the side and softly said, I'm glad you're okay, Lucas. I felt like my heart would explode at any moment. With her so close and smiling at me, this woman of mine could bring me to my knees with just a smile. And I knew at that moment that I was doomed. Our moment was broken by a knock on the door. She smiled at me and said in her sweet voice, I'll go check. Before going open the door, meanwhile, I managed to sit up on the bed, placing my hand over my heart to feel its erratic beats as I tried to catch my breath. What the hell happened to my angry darling? I wondered. My thoughts were interrupted when I felt the bed deep beside me, and I looked up to see Mama, who was gazing at me with concern. I knew she must have cried last night after seeing my condition, and I'm sure my dad is going to kill me for making her cry. I'll just go freshen up. You two can talk in the meantime, my wife said with a smile before heading to the bathroom. I shook my head at her strange behavior and turned my attention to Mama. How are you, my son? She spoke softly. Cupping my cheeks, I could tell she was holding back tears, but a stubborn one rolled down her face anyway. I'm okay, Mama, I said, wiping the tear away. We talked for a while and then Mama spoke in a teasing tone. Looks like my sweetie cares for you a lot, she said, clearly referring to my wife. You know, she was crying for you, asking what she would do without you. Mama continued, and I did my best to maintain my usual stoic expression, ignoring the flutter in my heart. You are truly lucky to have a partner like her, she added, and I couldn't help but agree. If I had known that getting hurt would bring her closer to me, I might have shown up injured a long time ago. After talking with me for a while, Mama left the room and I waited for my darling to come out of the bedroom. Meanwhile, I received a call from Michael, who informed me that all of the Volkov's warehouses had been blown up by my dear father. I knew he was out of Vinganius. If there's anything my father cares about more than my mother, it's us. Anyone who hurts his family will have to face the wrath of Daniel Ashwin. I looked up from my phone at the sound of the door clinking open, only to feel my heart skip a beat as my darling emerged from the walk in closet, drying her hair with a towel. She was wearing a light pink sari. Yes, I know the difference between a sari and a kurti now, after much research. Which enhanced her beauty, she walked slowly towards the balcony, her favorite spot in our room, and hung the towel there. I leaned a little to get a better view of her. She never uses a hair dryer, always preferring to dry her hair with a towel. After hanging the towel, she came back into the room and sat down at the vanity table, which was just beside our bed. She picked up the black and white round stone from the mirror, which she must have placed there last night, and placed it between her eyebrows. I noticed the water dripping from the ends of her hair onto the floor. She then took a comb and parted her hair, running it through the strands gently. When she finished, she opened a small colorful box decorated with tiny mirrors, took out a pinch of vermilion and applied it to her forehead, right at the parting of her hair. Then she took her hair to one side and tied the nuptial chain around her neck, a gesture that made me feel as though she was getting ready just for me. Seeing her apply the vermilion and wear the nuptial chain, symbols that she was mine, flaunted my ego and filled me with satisfaction. I couldn't take my eyes off her as she opened the drawer, took out some bangles and earrings, and began to adorn herself. The bangles, a combination of pink and white, clinked softly as she put them on both wrists. Next, she put on the earrings, which seemed a little heavy for her small ears but still looked beautiful on her. I watched her intently as she got ready for the day, captivated by her every move. She didn't do much, just the basics, yet she looked stunning. From what I've observed, my darling doesn't care much for makeup. She only wears lipstick occasionally. But she loves jewelry, and I love seeing her wear it. Her Mangalsutra. When she was finally satisfied with her look, she stood up from the chair and turned to face me. I looked her over from head to toe, drinking in every detail. But something felt off, and I scrunched my nose as I tried to figure out what was missing. I heard her clear her throat, but her smile didn't reach her eyes this time. I'll go downstairs and pray. Then I'll bring your breakfast, she said softly before walking towards the door. I looked down at her feet and realized what was missing. She wasn't wearing her anklets, which was why I felt like something was off. I was about to call her back when she suddenly stopped and turned towards me. Don't you dare to move from the bed until I get back. Your wound is still fresh and you need rest. So stay in bed until I bring your food, she said, raising her index finger at me in a bossy tone. I raised my eyebrows in amusement at her sudden assertiveness. Am I clear? She asked, a bit louder this time, and I nodded in response. Good, she said, then left the room. I chuckled quietly, remembering her cute facial expressions. She really can't scold someone with that adorable face. I looked at the pendant tied around my right wrist, like a bracelet. It was the same pendant my darling loved so much, and she was on the verge of a breakdown when she lost it. But now it was tied around my wrist. I don't remember her trying it, but I know no one else would have done this. I was confused about why she had removed her pendant and tied it on my wrist. The door to our room opened, and I sat up straight, hissing as pain shot through my back. I should have killed that motherfucker. What are you doing, Luke? I heard my wife's voice and turned to see her standing at the door with a servant who held a tray in her hand. But what caught my attention was her worried tone and what she called me. Luke? As in short of Lucas? Does that mean she gave me a nickname? Oh my devil, I have a nickname. My darling gave me a nickname. I wanted to scream and dance, but stopped myself when I saw her glaring at me. Scratch what I said earlier. She can be scary. What are you doing, Luke? Didn't I tell you to sit down and rest? Can't you even do one thing right? Are you a little child? Why do you keep troubling me all the time? Now see, you're going to feel pain. She muttered, helping me sit properly on the bed while arranging pillows behind my back and shaking her head in disapproval. I looked at her, clueless about what she was saying, but I could see on her face that she was scolding me in Hindi. Does it hurt now? She asked with concern, and I shook my head, giving her a small smile. She sighed, got up from the bed, and walked toward the servant who was watching us curiously. I glared at her, and Eva was fine. Chapter number 24 ends here with part 1, and we will back with part 2 very soon.